Hello, friends, and welcome. I just want to say thank you to all my old subscribers for hanging in there with me, and welcome my new subscribers. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. So this year I've decided it's going to be a year of discovery for me, and today I'm going to discover how to make apple cider vinegar myself. Usually I get the Bragg's one with the mother. I don't know if you can see it down there. It's floating around down there. But I usually get that, and I'm having a hard time finding it. Number one, the price is going up so drastically. It's crazy. Even on sale, it's $6, $5 and 60 something cents, $6 depending on where you go. And regular price, when I first saw it in my Whole Food store, it was $8 before the pandemic. So I can't imagine what it is now. Same size, no bigger, nothing. For how many ounces is this? 32 ounces. Yeah, I said, I'm going to try this. Now, it's the beginning of January. Actually, it's like just after Christmas. But by the time you see this, it might be January, February, depending on when I get this edited. And put up. I'm going to try this myself. So maybe I'll just show you the process now and show you the results later. Or maybe I'll put it all in one video. I'll see how this goes. But I have some apples. I washed them really good because they are dipped in wax, if you didn't know, which is edible, but I don't want that in my apple cider vinegar. So I scrubbed them really well with my vegetable brush that I have and some vinegar to get all that excess wax off of them. And I think they look pretty good. I have some filtered water here. I have a half-gallon mason jar. I have a 1/4 cup of raw sugar. I have my knife, and then this little handy-dandy thing I found at the Dollar Tree probably about 10 years ago. Maybe not that long ago. But it's one of the sturdier ones, which I'm happy for because I use it all the time to slice up my apples. So let's get this started. The first thing I'm going to do is get my apples all chopped up. I'm going to try, and I've been watching Stacy do ferment for a long time, off grid with Doug and Stacy, and I'm kind of terrified. She's like the guru of fermented everything, but it was kind of intimidating doing this, so I was like, yeah, maybe I should hold off on that. So what I'm going to do is cut them in half, because then maybe I should turn it down. Oh, I've got it on there already, and just cut them that way. So that's going to make it easier for me. Yeah, I'm going to turn them down to the flat side. And I want to get everything in except for the seeds and the stems. So I'm going to get that all cut up and into my mason jar. So I've literally got 2 apples so far cut up in my half-gallon jar. And as you can see, it's almost full. So I have these 2 left. So I pulled out a gallon mason jar, and I'm just going to switch over the jars. Apples cut up, my jar transferred, and I'm going to get the last of my apples into this gallon-sized mason jar. And it's going to come up about a little over halfway, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's a little over halfway. Whoops. And then I'm going to add in my sugar. In it goes. And then I have filtered water here, which I'm going to fill up the rest of my jar with. I might have to refill this. Yeah, I'll have to get a little bit more. That was 8 cups of water, and it hasn't quite filled up the gallon-sized jar yet. So, but that's looking nice already. So, I'm going to fill this up with more water up until just before the neck, and then I'm going to cover mine with a cheesecloth and an elastic band. Hopefully my cheesecloth the holes are not too big for this, but we'll see. My jar filled up the rest of the way with water. You can see the lines right there. I pulled out the cheesecloth, but I think my holes in this cheesecloth are a little too big for my purposes. So what I'm going to use is just a regular coffee filter, and I'm going to put that over the top. You can see that. And then I had just an elastic band to hold it down. And that's going to be it for the first week. They said to just push it down, like the fruit might want to float. You just want to push it down with like a wooden spoon or something. And I'll bring you back when I do that and we'll see how it's coming along. And this should ferment 4 to 6 months once you strain it after the first week. So we'll see how this goes. You can see that, but my fruit looks like it already wants to start to float. So what I'm going to do is I have this, just a Pyrex bowl, and it fits perfectly over the top, and it kind of just touches the fruit down the bottom and keeps it under the water. So I'm going to put that on. If you have one of those fancy weights, you can do that. But I'm just going to do this, and hopefully, cross my fingers, it will work. So every day you want to stir your mixture, making sure your apples are underneath the liquid and everything's mixed up. And you want to make sure you use only wooden utensils at this point. So as the days go on, you will start to see bubbles. That means the yeast is feeding off the sugar and breaking down the apples to make vinegar. If you don't see that, you could add a bit more sugar or some honey. So it's been about a week and a day since I started this. I have taken off the bowl that I was keeping on top, because every morning I will come and you see that foam that's starting on there, it will be running down the sides and going all over the place. So I took that because this wasn't really any space. Sure, it was keeping down the apples in the water, but it wasn't allowing for those bubbles to really escape other than around the sides and then down the side of the jar. So it just made a complete mess. So what I want to do is I'm going to, every morning, I want to try and scoop that foam off. I just go around with my wooden spoon and I'll just put it in a bowl and I'll throw it away. Any of that you see there, you want to try and scrape as much of it off, or as best as you can. And then what I want to do after that, gotten as much as I can off, I'm going to just stir it like I've been for the last week. So just get a little bit more here. Kind of hard to do with just one hand trying to film this, trying to make sure I have it in the shot, and yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good, if I do say so myself. And then I'm just gonna go and stir it. You want to stir it every day, and I'm gonna go 2 weeks with this. And I will say, I don't know what is wrong with me, but it smells good. Is vinegar supposed to smell good? But it does. It almost smells like apple cider. I love apple cider. So that's what it kind of smells like to me. But I guess that's what it's supposed to be. But I want to drink it. That might not be a good idea. Maybe I'll look into making apple cider. But what you want to do is just stir it. I stir it down all the way. Make sure everything is kind of mixed, displaced from where it was. And then I try to, that's why I like the weight, the little bowl. If I had a weight, I did have one. I don't know what I did with it. But it might not have been big enough for this one anyway. So I'm just going to push my apples down as best as I can to keep that down there. And then I'm going to put my filter back on. As you can see, this thing has seen better days. That's because it was overflowing and I ripped it when it was wet. But Then you put it back on and leave it till the next day, where you have to stir it again. If you have to skim it, then skim the foam off the top and stir it. One other thing, as you can see, I'm not sure you can see that, but that is kind of on the clear side. So you can see almost through it. If I was to shake this up, it would become cloudy. This I just stirred up, and it was a lot clearer than this because I've stirred up all the settlement. But it will be cloudy before you strain out the settlement and all that. And you want to keep some of that in there because that's good for you. And it's finally time to strain my apple cider vinegar. And as you can see, it doesn't have too much foam on the top. Actually, it really has none. I did stir it earlier, so that's probably why. And I have a clean half-gallon mason jar to put it into. I'm not sure it's going to fit. I probably have a little bit left over. So we're just going to take it over to the sink and I'm going to strain it. I have my glass. It's just a regular measuring cup, a really big one. And then my strainer. And I'm just going to strain it in here. Hopefully, I'm brought it to the sink so I don't make too much of a mess. Ooh, yeah, I'm still making a mess. And it's gonna be, put a little bit more in there. More than will fit in this 8 cup. And it smells delicious. I mean, I almost want to try it out now. I might try some before but it's gonna sit for at least 4 to 6 months before I use it. To pour it into my half-gallon, yeah, this is already spilling. My half-gallon mason jar. I'm gonna take this back to the sink. To the sink, hopefully I can do this without spilling too much of it. And this is not going to be big enough, as you can probably tell. I'm going to have some left. And I'll probably just put that in like a pint-sized jar with what's left over. Gallon-sized bottle, this is what I was able to get. This is a half-gallon size, and this is a quart. So a half-gallon and a quart. And I am going to put a fermenting top on it, one of those ones that had the release valve from bowl, and let them sit 4 to 6 months. So this is the fermenting lid I'm going to put on here. It has that little valve to let the gases out should anything still be percolating in there, and I don't have to worry about coming back and burping it and doing all that. And I need to find because this is a regular mouth, I thought it was a wide mouth, and I'll put another one on that one. Update, that did not work for me. I actually tasted it once I put it in these jars, and it tastes almost like, I don't know, just like some dirty water. It didn't really have any appley taste or anything. So I put it back in the gallon-sized jar with the liquid, put the apples back in here, and I added some of my raw honey to it, and I'm stirring it up, and I'm gonna put it back for at least another week or two before I strain these apples out. And I'm glad I didn't throw these out to the compost before I tasted it, because they were on their way. And so I put about a quarter cup of honey in here or so, and mixed it up really good. Actually, I put a little bit down the bottom, put some of the water in there. Make sure it was semi-dissolved, mostly. And then I just put the apples back on it. So we'll see how this goes. And I'll update you in about 4 to 6 months with how this went. So I'm just going to put my filter back on and continue with the fermenting process. Be on the lookout for part 2, the results. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification button to be notified when we upload videos.